Welcome, everybody, to the SideQuest, your weekly journey into video games, video game culture, coffee, and echoey backgrounds. I am Dolly Demovsky. Joining me is Aaron Scratty Bones Kelly.
Hey, what's up, world? Peace.
And Sam, we're going to call him March Madness Dixon.
Hello, friends. I don't want to. Can we not talk about basketball for like the next couple hours?
Oh, did you see that hoop?
You see that know how basketball works over there in Canada. You get out of here.
I'm tall enough that I constantly get asked if I play basketball, and the answer is no, and I'm very bad at it. I was a point guard in high school. I don't know what a point guard does. I played for 2 years. I just stood there.
You just stood there and had people pass you the ball and you dunked.
No. I was up by our net. I stood there, and when people came at me with the ball, I put my hands up, and they couldn't get past me. That was basketball for me. I don't know how to play the game. I don't know how to dribble a ball.
The only sport that you know of things going into nets, and it's Canada's major sport, is
curling.
Fishing and curling. There's no other sports.
I do fish.
Oh, do you?
Well, recreationally. I've never been on a fishing boat, but I do. There's a fishing rod right there, just out of reach. So
we should totally do a SideQuesting fishing trip.
I have a chair.
I'll buy a boat.
I have a chair.
I have a chair, and it's got a little plastic cup holder for your beer, because that's what fishing is. Fishing is pretending you've put bait on a hook and casting it out into a body of water and letting it sit there while you fucking slam a beer.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
You guys ready to talk about some video games?
Nope.
And not fishing. No.
I've played nothing. We can skip me. I'm still playing Persona.
You're still playing? Oh, you got back into Persona?
Yeah. I started playing it. I started playing when I got sick last week. And at that point that we did the show, I was like 2 of the dungeons in, and now I've just cleared the 4th one again. So
okay, all right,
yeah, and that's it. I don't think I've touched a single other game.
Wow, this is gonna be a short ass podcast. I'll talk about what I've been. Well, actually, Sam, what have you been playing? I'm gonna let the wonderful guest go first. You're a host. You're not a guest. I'm just kidding.
You know what? Not a lot either. Turned on some more Forza Horizon 4. It was winter, which was funny because I was like, I want to drive in anything else but snow. It just snowed here, but no such luck. It was wintertime. I love that off-road racing. And then played some more, why can't I think of its name? Sunset Overdrive.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're getting back. You talked about that last week.
Yeah, again, there's nothing more I could say about that game other than it flows so nicely, and movement is so cool. We just somebody needs to take Tony Hawk and add violence, and then you get like a sequel to Sunset Overdrive. And like, I just, that maneuvering style is great. And I just wish that it would go somewhere, but we're probably not going to get a sequel, which is a shame because, man, I love that game.
That's, that I'm so freaking diving into that. I'm going to be diving into that very soon, for sure. That's it. That's all you've been playing.
I did play the first level because it's free with Xbox Live right now. Of Star Wars Republic Commando. Does anybody remember that game?
Yeah.
So I remember I've wanted to play that game for years because
2006.
It was an original Xbox title.
So 2005, right? Or was it 6?
I'm not sure. I know there is a PC version too. But man,
2005.
I don't think any of those shooters hold up from that time frame. Like it's just bad. Man, do you remember clicking down the right thumbstick to bring up your aimer and left trigger throws grenades? Also, and left and right bumper didn't exist on the original Xbox controller, which I completely forgot. And I sat there for about 15 seconds going, where's the white button?
Oh, jeez.
Because there was the white and black button on the original Xbox controller because it was set up kind of like, what is it, the Sega Genesis controllers that had 6 buttons? I think the Saturn did too, but yeah. Wow, that game both visually and gameplay does not hold up. Like, I'm sure back in the day of like context places to send your crew was like brand new and fresh and a great idea, but now it's just like kind of poorly implemented in that game, and like everything, like you don't get to decide where people go and hang out. There's always a like, oh, you're supposed to interact with that thing, so there's like a hologram here, and I hit X and they run over to it. And my like only team commands are like, be aggressive, stay and defend, follow me, and it doesn't matter what the fourth one does or fifth one. They all do the same thing for as far as I can tell. So yeah, that game was supposedly a great game, and I'm sure it was at the time, but it does not hold up.
Oh, geez. I'm just looking at the original Xbox controller now, and you're right. They had a black and white button on there.
Yeah, and when that prompt comes up, like you have to sit there and think, like, okay, what button didn't exist on that controller? And apparently it was left and right bumper.
Huh. Okay.
God, I missed that controller.
You love that Duke, didn't you?
Look at how big that is.
That's fucking enormous.
Oh, it's perfect. It's the appropriate size for a controller.
Let's see, what have I been playing? I've been playing games. I've been playing that hot new jam, Diablo 3. Have you guys heard about this game? Yeah, I'm playing it on Switch, actually. And holy shit, it plays really well on the Switch. I'm getting back into Diablo 3. It's still a great game. I think I played it on my Mac when it first launched, and I got through like maybe 2/3 of the game back then, but I'm finding it now to be just a fantastic lie on the couch or lie in bed, I should say, type of game, because you just kind of sit there and you do some dungeon hunting, get through a cathedral or a citadel or whatever, and you go to bed. So yeah, it holds up real well on the Switch. I haven't even played on the big screen. It's just all been the handheld iteration. Have either of you, Sam, have you played it on the Switch since you have a Switch?
No, I haven't.
But you played it originally, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it holds up so well. That's just a fantastically designed game that even like 8 years later, 10 years later, however long it's been, maybe more, still holds up great. So yeah, I've been playing that, and I have my little chicken friend that follows me around, so that's a good thing. And then I've been playing Ape Out, which well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I hear that is very good.
It's so fucking good. It's I've likened it to it looks like an Atari 2600 game because the visuals are really basic and really simple. So you start as an ape that you're escaping. It's like ape escape. You're escaping out of a holding cell, and you're plowing through a building to try to make your way out. Well, there's human every so often. There's human. It kind of takes place in this top-down view. There's only like 3 or 4 colors. There's like black, brown, red for blood, and white for the humans. Because of course, white people are evil, so it falls in line pretty easily.
We're scum.
We're scum. And the human try to shoot you, but you can either push them and throw them up against the wall to kill them, or you can actually later on you learn to grab them. And you can actually aim with the gun and shoot other humans, or just use them as sort of a human shield. Either way, you're still trying to kill them, but you're just trying to make your way out. But what's fantastic about the game isn't necessarily that mechanic. It's how everything is tied together from a visual standpoint, how the music is tied in there, the levels, how the levels are designed. I think they're randomly generated, and how how the music will change as you're playing this game, and how certain notes hit as certain things happen. And it all everything fits so perfectly in this game, and it moves really quickly. It's fantastic. It's such an awesome experience. And if you have a Switch, or I think it's on PC as well, right?
I believe it's on PC.
Okay. Well, if it's not, if whatever device it's on, get it. It's totally worth, I'm like hiding behind my microphone here. It's totally worth playing.
Yeah,
it's totally
PC
worth picking up. All right, good. And yeah, I don't think I can recommend that game enough. It's like
so that's a Devolver joint, right?
It's a Devolver joint made by one dude. Well, everyone says the games are made by one person. I'm sure he outsourced a bunch of stuff to help him. But it's I think it's a one-man team that Devolver is publishing.
Because that's the game that got me thinking. Because I was looking at Devolver Digital's lineup for upcoming shows. It seems like a lot of Hotline Miami style games.
Yes,
and this is sort of one of those, but this is awesome.
This is so fucking all right. I'm gonna say this. It's already my game of the year. Because the only reason being is it's the best game I've played this year so far, and I haven't played Devil May Cry, I haven't played Anthem or Apex Legends and a bunch of those things. So it's the best game I've played in this very short year so far in 2 months. It's really great. It's like $15 or something like that, if that much. But yeah, it's so worth getting. It's so worth getting. It's I don't know. It's weird to explain, but it's just fucking awesome. I could play the game for a long time. It's kind of like the first time you played, because I've been playing a lot of Tetris 99. It's like the first time you play Tetris and you're like, wow, I get this game, and it's really easy to control, and it's really easy to get it's like binge watching. Tetris is like binge watching video games. You're just kind of playing the same thing over and over again. Ape Out is almost like a binge watch reductive Hotline Miami in a weird way, but it's just so fucking good. Because of that, it makes it so fucking good. Everything's perfect. So
Hotline Harambe, as I've seen.
Hotline Harambe, I like that. Let's see, what else have I been playing? I've been playing that. I needed a new toilet game, so I've been playing Angry Birds Dream Blast. So it's just an Angry Birds game on the phone, and one of those bubble popping games. And I'm trying to think what else. I'm looking over at my Switch and I think the last time we recorded was Thursday, and today's Wednesday. That may be it for me. I think Ape Out has been sucking me in. More Dragon Ball Z, as they say in Canada. No More Heroes. Yeah, in Canada. No More Heroes. Travis Strikes Again. I've been playing the DLC for that. But Ape Out, my God, it's so good. Get that Ape Out and play Diablo 3. That's still a great game.
I won't, but I appreciate the recommendation.
Yeah. Play Diablo. Have you ever played Diablo 3?
No. Diablo was like the one Blizzard franchise that I was just never able to get into. I played the first one on PlayStation.
Oh, well, that was your mistake.
And then I played Diablo 2 on PC, and I was like, all right, I mean, it's fine. But I was always like a StarCraft guy, and like to a lesser extent Warcraft, and then I got way heavy into World of Warcraft, and just Diablo was one of the trinity that I never really got into.
Yeah, I wasn't. I'm not a huge Diablo fan, to be honest. I was always a World of Warcraft. Out of all the Blizzard games, I'm sorry, not World of Warcraft, regular OG Warcraft, because I loved me some strategy games. So I think it went Warcraft first, and then StarCraft, and then that may have been it. And Lemmings, or whatever, Lost Vikings, whatever it was.
Lost Vikings, yeah.
But I never got into Diablo. That wasn't my style of game back in the day. Plus, it never really had a PC that could play it. But it's been recently that I've gotten into Diablo, and I love that style of game now. So count me in for that.
I mean, it helps that it's on the Switch.
Helps us on the Switch for me. Yeah, for sure. And I think that's it. I don't know where Tom is. Tom's been playing Devil May Cry. He mentioned in our chat, and I know Corey in the chat has been loving Anthem, except for the issues that there are, which we might talk about here momentarily. But that's basically it for Team SideQuesting. It's been kind of a quick week, and we're right before some more major launches, which I'm sure we'll be talking more about in the next episodes. So, you want to get on to some news? We're trying to make this a speedier episode today because I'm tired. As you can see, my room is empty. I'm not my usual position in my house. I'm kind of normally that wall is behind me, but we've cleaned up a lot. We're moving, and so I've had to like touch up stuff, and we got a photographer coming in tomorrow. But I will say, I cleaned my house up for other people, not for myself. And I fixed shit for other people, not for myself. And looking back now, I'm thinking, why did I do all this work for other people and I didn't do it for me? I think the next time I have a couple years under me in a house, I'm gonna just like actually fix shit for myself.
Yeah,
because it's kind of nice.
Like here's the truth of the world. Other people want to see a clean house because they need to visualize how they're gonna fuck it up.
That's true. Yeah,
Like that's
right.
it. Like nobody gets a house and stays clean.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I've been in my apartment for 6 months at this point, and yeah, it's a mess. That's fine.
It was kind of funny. Sam mentioned the Xbox, Forza, and a couple other games, but the only game console I have in my office right now that I have hooked up is the Xbox One, because it's the cleanest looking console. When you put a TV on top of it, you can't really. I don't know. The PS4 doesn't look great with a TV on top of it, but the Xbox One, for some reason, actually looks pretty good with a TV on top of it. So I'm using it as a stand for my TV, in other words.
Looks like a DVD player.
Looks like a DVD player. Right, Sam? Does your Xbox One look like a DVD player?
Sure does. It looks like a stand for my Nintendo Switch because that's what's sitting on top of it.
Do you have the OG Xbox One, or do you have the S?
No, I have an S. My brother took our OG Xbox One with him to California.
Oh, so nice. Maybe we'll talk about that new S stuff. It was as we get into news.
Dun, 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 dun. I was thinking about maybe trying to fucking download Fruity Loops or something and make a news jingle, but then I realized I'd have to figure out how to do a virtual soundboard, and I don't want to do that.
I've got to figure out how to get us on some fucking Twitch.
Yeah, we gotta.
You got to tell me how to do that.
No, I got to talk to John about that. He's the one with all the know-how, and we haven't had that conversation
yet. Well, I will say this here: the actual news is with the big SideQuesting 10th anniversary. Holy shit, we're old. Birthday coming up in a few weeks here. It's the week after PAX, so expect that. We're gonna we already got a bunch of guests lined up, some surprises. We may do that. Hopefully, we could do that on Twitch, which would be
our Twitch debut for the.
It could be our Twitch debut. Yeah, we'll see there. That could be kind of cool. But we're gonna do that on probably on that Tuesday. So we'll see. We'll let you all know.
Speaking of things that are not cool.
Here we go.
So there's been a lot of talk this past week since we mentioned Anthem.
Yeah.
Anthem's been having some issues on the PlayStation 4.
You don't say.
Yeah, it's been hard crashing, and a lot of people are reporting that when it hard crashes, it just hard crashes the whole machine to the point where, have you ever accidentally shut your PS4 off without, like, improperly, like pulled the plug or something like that? When you turn it back on, you get that screen that's like, oh, your system was shut improperly, blah, blah, blah. We got to scan everything. Sometimes that scan doesn't go so well, and you got to start over. Everything on your PS4, you got to fix that shit. EA finally acknowledged that Anthem is doing this, and now they're seeking help from the community because they don't know how to fix it.
Seeking help from the community.
I guess the long and short of it is they can't successfully
replicate it.
Yeah, they can't reproduce it, so they're asking for players who it's happening to submit reports and whatnot. So that's fun. That's Anthem. The other Anthem news was apparently the first gun you get in the game is the best gun in the game. You guys see this?
Yeah.
So
explain this.
So it's only based on players running their own tests. So like there's no like accumulated data yet, but it seems like all the enemies in Anthem scale with the things you're shooting them with. So if you have like a maxed out end game gun, by the numbers, it's a very much better gun than the level 1 starter gun. But the enemies are also scaled higher because it's a higher gun, so it takes more shots to kill them than it does to kill that same enemy with a level 1 gun. Essentially meaning that all the end game content is worthless because, like, what's the point? You've got the most powerful gun in the game as you start.
It's why bother, right?
Yeah, like that's not good for a game that's all designed around getting shit.
Anthem has been a cluster bleep. I'll say this: Corey has been loving it, and I know people who do thoroughly enjoy Anthem, but every single person, even the folks that enjoy it, are pointing out the same problems over and over again. And I keep thinking, man, this has been something that, like, I think these are the kinds of things that you can't cook long on games anymore. I think you have to debut, and maybe there's a good reason that Sony's pulling out of E3 because E3 back in the day was you announce a game and then you could wait a year, or you can wait several months, or a year, or 2 years, or if you're Kojima, you can wait forever. And the game can come out, and it'll be done whenever it's done, and people are generally okay with it. Well, you can't really do that right now because people are demanding a lot more quality, thankfully, and the games never kind of live up to their expectations. And Anthem is definitely not. But then again, Apex Legends keeps fucking tearing it up.
Well, I mean, the problem.
And that was announced and released the same day, basically.
Like you're not wrong, but the problem with Anthem specifically is EA was out there being like, "Yeah, we know Andromeda wasn't great, but that's because most of our people were working on Anthem. Like we had all of these people dedicated to Anthem, and then it turned out like this."
Yeah.
Oh,
yikes! Big yikes, my friends.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just had to. Anthem's hot in the news, so I had to include some stuff. Here's something else that I included just because I thought it was cool. James Patton, he's the guy who made Spinnertality, that game that we just had a hot take of.
Mm-hmm.
He released like a cool post-mortem on his blog, talking about like his numbers and stuff. And I just thought that was really cool. You don't really see that, you know what I mean? But he had said in the first week that it was on Steam, he sold about 7,000 copies. In that same time frame, he sold about 300 on itch.io. And between those two numbers, it earned him enough money for him. He's a one-man team to cover like living and development expenses for like 18 months. So he's got enough to work on his next game.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. His postmortem kind of goes a little bit on to saying like, yeah, everybody's talking about like the indie apocalypse. Like there's too many indie games, but I think this game is an example of that you can make it. And I mean, yeah, if you make a really cool game, chances are you're probably going to get some sales. And I mean, you compare that to any of the big games, like 7,300 games is not a huge amount, but for a one-man development studio, sure. I'm excited to see his next game, and I'm glad he has enough money to do it.
Yep.
And if anybody,
you enjoyed it from what your hot take review sounded like.
Yeah. And that's on his blog, which is jamespatton.net.
Okay.
So that should be the newest post on there, unless he's written something else. What else I got? It wasn't a big news week.
I got a couple pieces of news.
I got a few left, but it's very scattershot. THQ Nordic, the co-founder, released a statement regarding the awful 8chan AMA, and it's a very boilerplate, like corporate. Oh, this is never going to happen again. Where we ran a thorough internal investigation, blah blah blah. Which is just like the only reason I included it is because at one point, I want to find the exact line here.
That whole situation was just
even if no one within the THQ Nordic group would ever endorse such content, speaking about 8chan and
sure
the fact that they host kiddie porn and whatnot. I realized simply appearing there gave an implicit impression that we did. And so people are looking at this and saying like, oh, well, maybe they didn't know, except for the fact that this whole thing kicked off with the dude who set the thing up, like knowing, like saying, oh yeah, they cleaned it up for us. You know what I mean?
They don't clean it up.
They also didn't clean it up.
You can't clean it up. You can't.
If you looked at that thing 30 minutes in, it was not pleasant.
No, it was not. It probably wasn't pleasant 5 minutes in, let alone 30 minutes in. That's, there's no kudos to be given to them. They fucked up bad on that one, and they really need to get their act together and definitely not let that happen again. But with all the marketing know-how at these big companies, you would think that there's a few gates that this would have to go through, like a gates of approval that this would have to go through for anything like this. If you're outward, speaking to fans and stuff, like you make an internal. I mean, every company that I've worked with, or that I know, they make sure that a couple folks are in on this and they understand what's going on and they know where things are going, and they speak to their PR and their lawyers are involved and stuff, and then they do the AMA. after everything's been approved. The idea of having this quick organic AMA, they're fine, but you still need to go through that process of letting your team know ahead of time, and they didn't do that. That's because you would think somebody would have stopped them, and apparently,
you would think somebody would come. You would think somebody would have stopped them if they thought it was a bad idea.
Right, yeah. I wonder if the guy just said, "Hey, I'm going to do one of those AMA things. You guys into it? Yeah, sounds good. Go ahead." And then he just kind of chooses 8chan. Yuck. What else you got? What's some happier news? Do we have any happier news?
Yeah, totally. There's a class action lawsuit being put forward against Activision Blizzard over Bungie leaving.
Beautiful. Is it this because of Destiny 2?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I wanted to bring this up. I am not a lawyer, and this is
not legal advice.
This is not legal advice. This is also a post on finance.yahoo.com. So it's very much outside of my wheelhouse. But yeah, it's basically a class action lawsuit insinuating that I guess that Activision Blizzard knew how much the split with Bungie was going to cost them, and that they shouldn't have let it happen, and that they knowingly lied about what was going to happen.
Wow.
Yeah, it's some pretty serious stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so that's happening.
The Activision unraveling is really, really kind of interesting. And I bring it up because, of course, they're kind of down to whatever the King stuff, the Candy Crush folks are producing because they bought King.
Yeah.
Call of Duty, which, hey, we're gonna have a single player campaign. We mean it this time, they said. And then what else they got? Blizzard, right? They got Blizzard stuff going on, which I don't even think I can. And they were doing the Nitro redo, right? I don't know if they're going to be at. I kind of wonder if it's worth it for them to be at E3 if they're just going to have Call of Duty out there. I keep bringing up E3 only because we're now like about 3 months away.
We're like 3 months out.
Technically, they have that Souls game that's coming out, right? The whatever
Sekiro?
From that team. Yeah,
but that's coming out in like April, right?
I think that's this month, isn't it?
Oh yeah, sorry, this month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the Samurai game?
Yeah.
God, I want to play
Samurai
that.
Dark Souls.
Yeah, it looks great.
I wanted to play
Dark
that
Swords.
I wanted to play that before. That was the one where they were on like the Sony stage and the dude came out playing the Shamisen or whatever.
No, was that what it was? No, that was the other one.
Yeah, that's the Sony that's the Sony like
Ghost of
in-house
Tsushima.
Yeah,
there it is. That's the one I give a shit about.
Yeah.
I will tell you what though, that E3 video of that game looked kind of rough.
The Ghost of Tsushima?
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I were in the sort of adjacent theater. We went to the movie theater and watched it there, and and we both looked at each other. We're thinking, yeah, that didn't actually look the action didn't look very.
Also, it very much was not a shamisen. That's a stringed instrument, and he was playing a flute.
Okay,
some sort of wind instrument. Thank you. Anyway, I'm still reading over that class action suit. It's big. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep an eye on that because that seems like
that could go places.
Yeah. Staying in the world of finance, Vivendi finally sold off their last remaining shares of Ubisoft.
They threw in the towel finally.
Yeah, I included this because I mean this has been fascinating for like 4 years now. Ubisoft has constantly been like popping in and out, like, oh god, we're under attack. It's a hostile takeover. Blah blah blah. For like years now, and it's always been Vivendi like trying to buy them up. And I think at one point they owned like a fourth or a third of all Ubisoft shares or something. They owned way more.
At least a third.
It was something like
close to like halfway there. Yeah.
There was a point when this news was kicking off that Vivendi had bought some shares of Ubisoft, and I think they owned 25% shares, and the two founders only owned like 10%. But yeah, so they got successfully fought off. They're not allowed to purchase any Ubisoft shares for 5 years going forward. And as part of this deal, Ubisoft is now in a partnership with Tencent to break into the Chinese market. So there's yet another video game company teamed up with Tencent. Tencent being I guess at this point, the parent company of like Riot and stuff like that is the big one. But yeah, so
yeah. Well, it's interesting. Remember, Vivendi actually owned big chunks of Activision for a while too. Before they split off, Activision split off from Vivendi, and then Vivendi went after Ubisoft. They keep trying to get into
video games.
Video game. And I think it was I'm reading the Wikipedia page for Activision Blizzard. So it's 2006. Bobby Kotick, our great friend Bobby Kotick. Hi, Bobby. Reached out to the CEO of the French conglomerate Vivendi, and Vivendi had a small games division, and then that kind of sped them off into. I think it was July 2008. Activision announced that stockholders had agreed to merge Activision and Vivendi. And Vivendi was a majority with 52% of the stake in the company. So, and then I think that ended in like 4 years later. And Vivendi went after Ubisoft after that. So, craziness. Vivendi.
Oh, that was what I was thinking of. Vivendi owns or owned the other company that the guys who own Ubisoft, like they successfully took that one over.
Yep.
Yeah, so anyway, that's
good.
Yeah. Fuck Vivendi.
Fuck Vivendi. What else you got? What other fuck Vivendi news you got?
I just got a couple of other things. Actually, it's really only one more thing.
Okay.
Apex Legends reached 50 million players worldwide, and that's from the Apex Legends Twitter.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking amazing.
That's big.
That's huge.
Now, whether or not, I mean, they quite literally just say we reached 50 million players worldwide. I don't think that's concurrent. I think that's probably unique people who have installed the game and maybe played a match. But yeah, I mean that game's cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's doing gangbusters. It's surpassed Fortnite and staying ahead of Fortnite for almost a month now, which is really bizarre. It's crazy to say that. Yeah.
Worldwide, I think PUBG is still beating them both.
Is it really?
Yeah, PUBG's massive overseas.
Oh yeah. It's huge in like Russia and Asia and all that kind of stuff. Okay, Europe. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's everything I had. That was all the things I had.
I got a couple.
Sonic's nipples.
Sonic's nipples. No, one is the there's a report going around that the discless Xbox One is going to be released in May of this year. So people have been talking about a new Xbox device that Microsoft could potentially show. And I think we mentioned a few weeks ago that they were the rumors they were going to show two Xbox devices in the next two generation, the next generation Xbox at E3, but they're going to show two Xboxes, and one was going to be a discless one. It looks like that discless device is coming out sooner than we think. That's May. This is the rumor. This is Windows Central, which is Thurrott and those guys.
They're really good. They're pretty on the ball.
Yeah, they have been on the ball with a lot of things. Yeah, so according to Windows Central, this was the Xbox Maverick that we had been hearing about for a while, but the Maverick won't be the name. The actual name is going to be the Xbox One S All Digital Edition, or as we like to call it, the Xbox One Sad Edition.
Really?
Yeah, it is the Xbox One S All Digital Edition. The Xbox One Sad.
Jesus. So I don't know.
But yeah.
It's weird because on the one hand, most of the world doesn't have the bandwidth to deal with this.
So, correct, but the rumors that this will come with it isn't going to be just streaming, but also basically built in hard drive. So you'll be buying your games, downloading them and playing them. But you're correct still, because
I mean, lots of places in the States and Canada have download bandwidth caps.
Yep.
Like you go over 50 gigs or whatever. That's a game these days.
It's more than that when you think of it.
Like you're paying out the ass
and shit. Yeah.
The flip side of that coin is I have unlimited bandwidth and no download cap, so I should get one of these.
Oh, do you? That's good for you. Yeah, there you go. If you have like T-Mobile and AT&T, which have unlimited bandwidth, now you can probably use that too. But yeah, I think it's the direction that everybody was sort of seeing Xbox gaming go to is an all digital version. Obviously, I mean, I own more games on my Switch now physically or digitally than I do physically. Everybody has iPhones and iPads, and we probably have more stuff. I mean, PCs, obviously, you can't even buy a disc game anymore. But this is the first like major console to put one out like this, and I think it's, you know, I was gonna say if anybody was gonna do it, it's gonna be Microsoft first because they just seem like the right team. However, you look back and Sony had that PSP Go, which was way ahead of its time. Because looking back now, that thing is a fantastic little form factor. Remember that little PSP Go, the slide out controller, the slide out screen. God, I want to get my hand on one of those things again. But that was an all digital PSP.
Yeah,
so that was pretty cool. But yeah, so I mean, Sam, what do you think? Would you be interested in an all digital version of the Xbox One?
I mean, in terms of like just playing older Xbox games, probably not. I mean, I don't currently use a disc thing. I think I have a Halo 5 disc, but even then, I think they've given that away for gold, so like I wouldn't even need it.
Sure.
I mean, I bought the Xbox One S to use as a media player, and the fact that it does play Blu-rays was part of that, of buying it as a movie player. So, I mean, personally, for me, I wouldn't really want the system, but I think an interesting thing with this is if they're going to make an Xbox One S that has this streaming stuff and allegedly could stream these better games that are coming out for the next generation, does that mean that the hardware that's already out there is also capable of doing that? Like, can I use my current Xbox One S to stream, you know, Xbox One 2 or whatever they end up calling its game streaming service on it, without having to upgrade any sort of hardware? Or is there something in this Xbox SAT edition that has like a specific chip that helps with that streaming somehow? I know they've got that, what is it, that smart download system now, but that's available on every Xbox One platform, I think. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, I think it's a great idea, and it's going to help cut the cost down of this thing because this Xbox One SAD will probably start at $199 instead of what's the current Xbox is $299 or $249. Yeah. So this will be $199, I think, at most. I could see them dropping that. Hell, I could even see them going for like the jugular and dropping this thing for like $140.
Did they make a discless version of the 360 at some point also?
I don't think so. They had the HD DVD drive.
They made a discless version of the Wii in Canada.
Yes.
Did they really?
Yeah, it was a Canadian only Wii. It was super weird.
Yeah, it also like eliminated any of the GameCube support, right? Like all the controller ports were gone, and
yeah, it was like a super slimmed down discless thing.
I want to say that they did make a discless Xbox 360.
Everyone's Googling right now.
Yep.
Did they?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I swear I've seen like a photo of it. Maybe it never came out.
Huh.
Yeah. Because I thought they came out with like the Xbox 360e or something that like looked a little bit different and had a much larger internal hard drive. But I don't know if that actually came out, or I'm just thinking like I saw some like, oh, you know, this was a product they were thinking about but never actually released.
Well, they've been talking when the 360 was still out, and they were talking about this current generation as being in the near future. They wanted the Xbox One to be discless, didn't they?
I think that was one of the original thoughts, right? Right. Yeah.
Well, or that if you were going to have a disc, like it tied it to your system specifically.
Could be.
Yeah, some I don't know.
And there were also rumors that you would be taking, if you already owned discs for something, you would take your discs in and get like a code or something, right? That was something that I heard.
They were banning about some exchange program. Like, oh yeah, no, we can you bring them into a GameStop or whatever, and which was stupid, but
it's going to be real interesting to see how this goes through. Remember that so Microsoft has experimented on a couple occasions with that kind of leasing the Xbox, right? With that subsidized version where you paid like a monthly price for Xbox and Xbox Live. I can kind of see them with this, where you're getting this thing dirt cheap and you can only get games on it if you pay a monthly like $20 price or something. And they really just do kind of push it as a service instead of a console. So I don't know. Interesting times with that Xbox One. However, one more bit of news that I had is that things are still interesting at Nintendo, as is they have announced a VR Labo kit. So you will officially be able to pop your Nintendo Switch into a cardboard dock and play VR games. So this news, Nintendo announced this today. It goes for pre-order today, and it's arriving April 12th, which is, if I look at my watch, it's a little over a month away from now. So right after our SideQuesting birthday. But yeah, so it's going to have a couple versions of this VR kit. So I'm going to read the Game Informer did a good write-up of this. So it's going to be kind of like the Google Cardboard, right? So you drop your Switch in there, and it doesn't really have a lot of horsepower. You'll be able to do a few things with it, but the Joy-Cons are attached to the sides of they remain attached to the sides of the Switch for the if just the regular kind of the viewfinder version. But if you want to get creative, then you get the specialized edition. So that's going to be like the basic edition for like $40 or something. And then you can get the special edition, which gives you a bunch of different games to play. Like there's like a safari game. There's an elephant type of game. There's a wind pedal. There's a camera. So think Pokemon Snap, right? There's a bird, like all these different things. But apparently it's just meant to give you all kinds of different experiences based on which one you want. So yeah, there it is. The Switch VR that we've always been talking about. Nintendo just decided to finally do it. And that's coming out in April. I can actually see if this works out, some of those VR, if it's decent. I mean, I'm curious what the graphical fidelity will be on this thing, because I don't even think the Switch's screen is in HD, right? You're probably gonna get some major motion sickness on that thing. But I could almost see that this be the or companies like the Job Simulator guys bring that game over if you have this VR kit. So that could be kind of an interesting addendum. Get some actual content, and now you've opened the Switch to a whole different group of software. But who knows? A lot of stuff's made in Unity. A lot of VR stuff's made in Unity. I think it ports over probably pretty easily. Thoughts? What are your thoughts, Sam? Are you gonna get another Labo kit?
I think this is probably going to be one that I'm going to wait and see. Like, okay. I don't necessarily think you have to pre-order any of the Labo kits.
No, you don't.
I think the big fear around like getting it early before was that, like any Nintendo product, they weren't going to produce enough. But you can walk into just about any store and see stacks of that, both the robot and the other kits. So I'm probably going to wait and see. I mean, it's interesting, right? Like, I definitely think this is a great idea for Nintendo, like to sort of get into this VR space. Clearly people are interested in it because they're still attached. Samsung still sells phones with those dumb headsets.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like obviously like the Vive and stuff want to keep producing newer content. We're also seeing probably those Knuckle controllers from Valve come out sometime this year.
Oh, the Echidna.
The Echidna.
So yeah, I mean, it feels like VR is still waiting to hit, even though it already did. And I think Nintendo's sort of getting in that space. Like, if they have these kits and there's some sort of standardization to be able to play other games, I don't see why some of these like more successful, smaller games that are on like the Samsung devices and stuff don't port themselves over. So I don't know. We'll see whether Nintendo like expands it out of the Labo kit, I guess, is the question, right?
I can kind of see this as a sort of a test for Nintendo to see if VR is even something that they want to get into, because this is a simple kit. It's literally a $30 VR headset that they've created, right? Instead of having people spend money, what was the PSVR was like $400 when it first came out, something crazy like that. Instead of spending $400 on a VR headset, they said, "Hey, spend $40, or if you have that Best Buy discount, you can get this thing for $30. Spend like $30, $40, and make it out of cardboard. And you can play some interesting, simple VR stuff and
Like
call it a day. And
that's Google Cardboard.
It's exactly what it is. It's Google Cardboard.
Mhm.
But I mean, this is Nintendo now, so I could see them and see I could see them using it as sort of a test, and that if it works out, then I mean, and by that I mean if there's definitely interest in this, they could open up the eShop to companies to actually create their own VR experiences. And I think it almost feels like more of a test than it does an actual, like, Nintendo's jumping into VR. No, they're kind of making you pay for like a VR beta or a VR alpha to see if there's any interest in there.
I just think it's so funny because all I can picture is, you know, John Google's over there like, this is our thing and we're doing video games now. And now Nintendo's doing our thing and they do video games. Like the crossover there is just so 1-to-1. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think this is this isn't going to take any money away from like the PSVR, Oculus, or any of those much higher def, higher quality VR
of which I still want.
Yeah, I think so. The PSVR can work on PCs now. But I think it's, if anything, this is just Nintendo throwing something out there and be like, hey, you guys keep talking about VR on the Switch, try it out. If you guys want VR on the Switch, fucking buy this thing, and then maybe we'll open it up to people to actually make VR experiences. Because somebody had they were able to get like a VR YouTube video running on this, right? Because you can still sort of get your way around to hack into like a regular web browser on the Switch and get into like YouTube VR videos. And now there's actually a YouTube app, so maybe you can even get into some of those now. But I could almost see that kind of taking place, right? All of a sudden you got the YouTube VR on the Switch, and maybe there's open door to other stuff. So
you think that'll lead to a rise of YouTube videos aimed at children that have scenes of instructions on how to kill yourself cut in, but in 3D because it's VR?
What's funny is that Momo story went around everywhere, and the only people that were actually like freaked out about it was adults, because kids weren't even aware of this kind of stuff.
What was that Momo stuff, by the way? Because I saw that creepy face and then like never clicked on any of the photos.
No, that's all it is like some fake, stupid, if your kids watch this, they'll want to kill themselves type of thing, or they'll want to harm themselves.
There was the other story where I can't remember if she was a doctor or not, but she was a parent at the very least, and she had an example of a video that was like I think it was like Teen Titans or some shit like that, like some kids cartoon, and then it just cuts away like right in the middle of the episode to like a dude in front of a green screen being like, "Remember, kids, if you really want to make sure it takes, it's like down the street, not across the sidewalk or whatever." Like actual like slitting your wrists instructions. She's like, "What the fuck? This is on YouTube." So it was like it blew up for a minute, but
I will say kudos to our good friend John Kehoe, John Kind, and also Kuma79, who we were having a chat in our Discord. Check out our Discord, talking about this thing, and John said, "What if the camera is Pokemon Snap VR?" And I thought, what if this is Pokemon Snap in the new Pokemon game that's coming out in November, and you can use this as a way to get Pokemon Snap in there? That could be kind of interesting. All right, that's it. That's all I got.
I think that's all I got.
Sam, is that all you got?
That's all I ever have.
We did this in an hour, in under an hour. This is awesome. I can get some sleep. I'm so happy. I'm gonna go back to playing video games for a change. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. It's been an awesome show. We've talked about stuff. We've shared memories. We've made it through illnesses and echoing and all kinds of fun technical difficulties, but we're here.
I didn't have a single drink this entire show.
No, I've drank only a little bit of coffee, and that's basically it.
I've had liquids, just no alcohol.
I'll have alcohol ready for the next few shows. You can find us at sidequesting.com, sidequesting on the Twitter, sidequesting TV on Twitch, or maybe that'll be our new home. Who knows? And you can find me individually, personally, at Dolly Domofsky. Where can we find you, Samuel?
You can find me at twitter.com at samdi79. I don't tweet. Did I tweet? I always have to check every single time we do.
When did Sam tweet last?
Yeah, when did Sam have a thought so dumb that he was like, you know what? Other people need to know that I was spending my days thinking about this. Emo bands, right? They're now old enough to play on classic rock. 7 Years by Seosin is old enough to drive around. And it's probably as old as Anthony Green was when he wrote that song. So I just want to start a petition and start calling emo music sad rock, so we can just agree that we can play it and not be children about it.
I'm retweeting this because I want. This is like your change.org petition right now.
Yeah, I'm very serious about it, and I would wish you would take it just as serious as me.
Aaron, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at ScrattyBones. I have not been streaming for the last almost 2 weeks because I got very sick, and I'm sure I still sound awful. And I had a thought about this, just to close out on. You know, I do the show every week. Definitely, there are people who watch it, so I'm sure there are people who hear the plugs at the end. I've got over 41,000 tweets since 2008. Maybe 4 of them are good. So like, if you hear that plug, don't expect any like quality content coming out of me.
There you go.
There's a warning for you.
There's horrible content coming out of Aaron.
That's not a good ratio.
No, most of it is just dick jokes, I think, honestly. With that, we'll see you guys next time. Bye. See ya. Peace. Nobody else is gonna say anything besides me?
I waved.
Okay. I was talking so nobody saw you. Yeah. Sam's waving, but Sam's camera's off.
Yeah.
Sam doesn't have a camera.
I've been waving the whole time.
Bye, everyone.
Just an hour of this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why is nobody acknowledging me waving?
Nobody ever says anything about me waving.
They can see